With a look at this week's UPS Team Performance Index, I'm Tom Vandervoort. Now, the TPI gives us a new way to rate college football teams by developing a separate index for offense, defense, special teams, and miscues, and then combining them with winning percentage for an overall team performance index. 100 is average, 200 is perfect. Now, it's been a pretty good week for Florida State. They faced Clemson in a major test and came away with an impressive 49-37 win. When we look at the team performance index, however, we see that they've fallen from first to third. So what's going on? Well, let's compare the Seminoles with the two teams ahead of them in the TPI. First place Alabama and second place LSU. Now, on offense, Florida State ranks first in the nation with an index of 146.6. Despite playing their toughest opponent yet, quarterback E.J. Manuel and his teammates drove their nation-leading 8.54 yards per play up over last week. Alabama's 115.8 index on offense is 19th best, and LSU's 109.9 is 27th. Moving to defense, we see the Seminoles at 142.2, second only to Texas Tech. They gave up a lot of yards to Clemson, so their index did drop from last week, but they still outrank Alabama, whose defense is third, and LSU, whose defense is fifth on the TPI. What about special teams? Well, Florida State's doing pretty well there, too, with a 131.7 index, fifth best in that category. Again, that's better than both Alabama, which ranks just above average, and LSU, whose teams are 30th best nationally. I guess that's enough to tell us where the problem is over on the miscues index. Now, miscues evaluate turnovers and penalties, both for and against, and we can see that the Seminoles are decidedly below average at 88.0. Alabama, on the other hand, is third best in the category. LSU rates 30th. Versus Clemson, the Seminoles were called for 11 penalties and turned the ball over twice, and that is certainly something that can trip you up in a close game. Florida State is fourth in the polls this week with Alabama first and LSU third, but the most interesting discrepancy between the TPI and the national polls is Oregon. The Ducks are rated second by both the AP and coaches, but the TPI shows them down at 29th with decent offensive and defensive numbers, but a miscues index even worse than Florida State. The big risers on this week's TPI, Texas A&M and Ole Miss, who both climbed 34 spots, and the biggest fallers, Clemson, along with BYU, they each fell 36 positions. And finally, one more note, the most average team in the nation is Toledo, with an overall index of 99.9. I'll be back next week with more numbers for the UPS Team Performance Index. I'm Tom Vandervoort.